Hey Get Rich Education Nation, Matthew here, GRE Content Manager. This clip originated as the beginning of our recent St. Louis webinar. Our next webinar is coming up soon, so head on over to grewebinars.com for more.
We're going to get to dive in deeply to a classic investor advantage market, St. Louis, Missouri, whose MSA spans both the state of Missouri and into Western Illinois there on the other side of the Mississippi River. And are we going to learn absolutely everything about St. Louis? No, and we shouldn't. How far does the Gateway Arch span in St. Louis? I don't know, and I never knew that. When people write out St. Louis, why do they write ST dot? You know, it only saves 2 characters. I don't know. We're not going to get the answer to that either. We don't know how many home runs Albert Pujols is going to hit for the St. Louis Cardinals this season. We're going to talk about real estate and really how it can impact you. I have visited St. Louis myself. In fact, my very best friend in the world lives in St. Louis. He just moved there about 2 years ago. I have done an investment property tour in St. Louis myself, truly that classic Midwestern investor managed market. I have been to a St. Louis Cardinals baseball game as well. So if you want to go ahead and bring up that slide for St. Louis, we talk about getting into this market and looking at turnkey rental properties. I think you all know what TurnKey means, because this audience that's been invited here is all through GRE. But for those that might not know that or haven't listened to my podcast, a turnkey rental property, that really just means 3 things. A property that's fully renovated, that already has a tenant in it, and is held under management for you as well, or you could choose to self-manage it. But it's those 3 things. That's what a turnkey rental property means. We're talking specifically about St. Louis tonight. But you know what? If we pull back and just look at the national picture with what's going on, we talk about investing in residential real estate, and yeah, we're not doing it completely for altruistic reasons, right? I mean, what's in it for me, right? What's in it for you? There is that selfish component to it, right? And, you know, there's nothing fallible with being selfish. You got to take care of yourself before you take care of others. So we're really in these properties because real estate pays 5 ways, as anyone that follows me knows. As we know, when you consider that real estate pays 5 ways, anything less than a 20 to 25% total rate of return from the 5 ways is actually disappointing, which sounds like an absurd thing to say in any other investment class. And the first of those 5 ways is appreciation, especially leverage appreciation. Now, we're going to talk about what St. Louis has done appreciation-wise in the last year, but I think we know nationally that appreciation has largely stalled because affordability has gone down. So if you're looking at some of these properties tonight, you know, maybe you even want to think to yourself, now, what if I didn't get any appreciation on that? And you're probably going to be holding these properties for a few years, so maybe you want to project something conservative like, hey, maybe I only get 3% appreciation per year. Of course, with a 20% down payment, if you're leveraged 5 to 1, just a 3% appreciation rate gives you 15% total appreciation just from the first of 5 ways you're paid appreciation. The second one, of course, is cash flow. This is better news. Cash flow has been on the upswing. As price growth has stalled, rents are rising, and that comes back to affordability. People can't afford to buy homes, and that increases people in the renter pool. Nationally, it's increasing occupancy rates, and it's increasing the amount of rent that you can get. So cash flow should be on the upswing. And of course, the third of 5 ways is principal pay down. Principal pay down, well, that's been somewhat reduced with these higher mortgage interest rates. Your tenant isn't paying down as much of your principal for you, which sounds like good news, right? Like real estate investors have it all, right? Your tenant's just paying down less of your principal for you. A bit more of their payment goes to interest. The fourth way are those generous basket of tax benefits, especially tax depreciation, which really just means a portion of your rent income is sheltered from taxes. Another one of those big items in the basket of tax benefits, of course, is that 1031 tax deferred exchange. If you buy a property like this and sell it in 7 to 10 years and you structure things properly, you won't have to pay any capital gains tax. I've been investing in real estate 20 years, and the amount of capital gains tax I paid in my investing career is zero. But taxes are about the same. That hasn't really changed over the past few years, that benefit, not significantly. And then the fifth and final way real estate pays is that inflation profiting benefit. And of course, this measure is really up the past few years. CPI inflation is currently 8.3%. Inflation, it's that thing that makes savers losers and debtors winners, because you typically can get an 80% loan for these properties. So, I think some people try to time the market. And when people talk about timing the market, they just look at that capital price of the asset. What's the price? Maybe they think a little bit about the interest rate. But we take a holistic view with the 5 ways real estate pays. With what I just explained, 2 of the 5 ways are now surging. Another 2 of the 5 ways are waning, and then 1 is about the same as it's been, that basket of tax benefits. And, rarely, if ever, do you have all 5 that are up, right? Or all 5 that are down. You kind of have this sort of thing going on over time. If mortgage interest rates go down, okay, that helps you on your principal pay down that your tenant's making for you. But you know what? If mortgage rates go down, well, then your inflation profiting benefit probably went down as well, because mortgage rates and inflation tend to be positively correlated over time. So it's really difficult to time the market. You've got 2 measures surging, 2 waning, and 1 about the same right now. And let's come back and talk about price. And when we look at price, we're going to be looking at some rather inexpensive properties on a national basis tonight in St. Louis. And lower price properties tend to have more downside resistance. They're more resistant to drops in prices compared to, say, an $800,000 property in a hot or trendy market like a Boise or a Nashville or Miami. And those might be perfectly good places to live. But with properties that we're looking at tonight in St. Louis, often with price points between 100 and 150K, you got to think about it. How much could those prices ever really drop? When you think about inflation and how hard it is to get labor to replace the structure that you're buying, you got to compare that to the replacement cost of the property, and how we've had such appreciation in inflation in all sorts of materials and supplies. So to build a like property like the ones that you're looking at tonight, that helps protect against that downside price attrition.